All right, let's hear from Steve Kerr now.
Can you explain what happened there in the last 40 seconds or so? Did
100% my fault. I knew we didn't have any timeouts left. We took the challenge, and when the challenge was unsuccessful, as we were exiting the huddle, that's on me. I've got to remind the guys we're out of timeouts. I didn't say that, and so Steph wasn't aware. So that's on me for not making that clear. And then on that play, we had all four of the other guys running to the other end, and they hit Steph in the backcourt. We didn't have a trail man, so we got to handle the pressure better. Late game, take care of the ball, but the timeout is 100% on me.
and is it a little stunning for everybody to have that happen, give up a point, then lose possession of the ball, give up a three? What was just kind of the conversation? What was the mood as this is happening? All of a sudden, it's a 1 point game.
You're just moving on to the next play. I mean, there's no time to be angry or frustrated. You just have to. You just got to keep going. And our guys did that. We made a couple of incredible stops down the stretch. Got a couple key rebounds. We had a chance to really break it open there in the final minute, but for that play and the turnover in transition. So give them credit. Sacramento really hung in there, but our guys closed it out with a stop at the end, and we're where we need to be.
You guys kind of doubled Fox late on that last possession. Were you okay with the look that Barnes got, and just what's your mindset as you're kind of watching that shot go up?
We wanted to get the ball out of Fox's hands and try to get back to wherever the shooter was going to be. And in that case, it was Harrison. And he got a good look. It kind of reminded me of the Wiggs look in game one. These games are coming down to the wire, and you just got to, really finish possessions and try to give yourself the best chance. And then sometimes it's just, does the ball go in or not?
What did you think of Draymond's defense, especially down the stretch, and then also just kind of take us through some of the decision-making in bringing him off the bench instead of starting?
His defense was great. He hadn't come off the bench in 10 years since before I was coaching. But he came to me immediately after game 3. He drove back to the arena. I was in my office, and he walked in, and he said, "What do you think about me coming off the bench?" And I had been thinking about it already because of the way Sacramento was guarding us, and just getting another shooter on the floor. And so we always collaborate. The decisions we make are collaborative with our key players, and so that was a collaboration. But Draymond offered it, and this is how we've approached a lot of playoff games. Steph has come off the bench, I think 4 games against Denver last year. Wiggs came off the bench game 1. You do whatever you have to do. And I thought Draymond had a great second half, really got himself going. Defensively, he was fantastic. And, only had 1 turnover. Again, huge key for us, taking care of the ball, and we did that. And we eventually got back to that 2 big lineup with Draymond and Loon, and they did a great job together.
Steve, I was just going to ask you about going back to the 2 big lineup in the second half. Why did you have to kind of go back to that just because of the way they were rebounding against you? And
Fox had such a big first half, so we wanted to change the coverage and the look. You can't just keep doing the same thing if a guy is torching you like that. So we decided to put Draymond on him. Just changed the look, and he still had a great second half. He's a handful, but getting Draymond on him and then getting Draymond involved offensively, I think got him going, and he got himself going through his play, and he was great second half.
Steve, you said you were right here. You said you were thinking about taking Draymond off the bench even before this game. Is that something that you want to continue to do as the series unfolds, or are you taking it still game by game?
I'm not telling you that.
Why not?
Why would I just come here and tell you my strategy?
I thought we're
tight.
I thought we was cool. I thought you were
You're cool.
Just let me know.
You're really cool, but I'm not telling you.
All right, for sure.
Nice Vans.
Oh, Steve, in layman's terms, what's the logic behind bringing Draymond off the bench at the start?
it becomes a one big game instead of a two big games. So the spacing was an issue in the first two games in Sacramento, and the spacing was part of the reason for the turnovers. So you take Draymond out and you put Jordan in, and now you got four players around the three-point line, one big. It just creates passing lanes, driving lanes, and makes the game easier on our offensive players.
Okay. Did that become more evident because when Draymond set the game out? Or was that did Draymond sitting the game out?
Yeah, so I think the thinking behind it is, when you play well in the playoffs and something good happens, then you stick with it because, these are games of, really detailed adjustments, unlike the regular season where you're just moving from game to game. Every playoff game is, if you find something that works, you got to stay with it. And if it's not working, you got to try something different. So I think that's why Draymond and I were both thinking the same thing after game 3, because we've been through this together for almost a decade. And he saw it made a change in the chessboard, and it allowed our guys to have a little more space offensively.
Steve, you've been through so many of these over these big games. You've won championships. From to borrow Scott's term, a layman, it feels like your team should be better at finishing games, right? But is it more about like, hey, this is what happens, and it's about surviving it, and that's what makes you so good, or you expect to be able to finish better than you do as a champion?
I think we'll finish better next game. I think we'll do a better job. It's just a matter of taking care of the details, we did some great things down the stretch, getting stops, and we just, a couple times we couldn't get the offensive or the defensive rebound, and then the timeout mess, which was my fault, and the turnover. So all it takes is a couple plays, and it changes everything. So we got to be better, but I think we will be better.
When Draymond approaches you and says that it might be better for him to come off the bench, what does that tell you about where his head is at, and like where the team is emotionally?
Didn't surprise me because I know at his core, Draymond just wants to win, and for all of his emotion and passion, and the things that he gets into with the league or with the opponent or with the officials, it's all coming from a place of competitive desire. He's one of the great competitors I've ever been around. He's one of the smartest players I've ever been around. So didn't surprise me because he recognized the same thing that I did.
Steve,
which made it a lot easier. The fact that he came in and suggested it, that makes it a lot easier. And then we go from there.
Steve, what do you think of Klay Thompson tonight? And, he was a plus 22 in 39 minutes.
Klay was amazing at both ends, hit some huge shots, but also his defense, I thought, was, that was vintage two-way Klay. Just both ends of the floor, making one big play after another, playing 39 minutes. That was really, really something.
Steph played 43 minutes the entire fourth quarter. You played basically 7 guys in the second half. Is that just where the series is, and can you keep up this kind of hard minutes on these guys?
It's where the game was tonight. They countered our substitution pattern in Game 3 with some changes of their own tonight, trying to match up, get matchups that they preferred. That probably kept Steph on the floor a little bit longer. So we'll have to look at that. But ideally, I'd like to keep him, closer to 38, 37, but whatever the game calls for at this stage.
What do you like about Draymond on Fox, and was that just a halftime idea that came to you guys?
Yeah, it was, someone on the staff suggested it, and it's the beauty of Draymond defensively. There's so much versatility there that he can guard anybody, and we just thought it would be a good idea to give Fox a different look and change the coverage a little bit. And I thought it clicked, worked. We had the big third quarter, and then, Fox really got going. But probably the biggest stretch of the game for them was the start of the fourth when he was out, and their guys stepped up. I think, went on maybe a 10-2 run to start the quarter, something like that, and got right back in the game. So that was a big moment, and that's why we kept our guys out there and why we used our timeouts up. When I had 2 left, I took the first one just to give the guys a rest because we were playing them a lot of minutes. And then, the second one obviously is the challenge, and then, then we're left without one. So I was trying to give our guys as much rest as possible, knowing that we weren't getting our key guys out in the fourth quarter.
Steve, following up on the third quarter, first half you guys were out rebounded by a substantial margin. Second and third quarter, you guys won that by a big margin. Defense got better. In addition to the putting Draymond on Fox, what else? Was there anything else that you guys wanted to do, or was it just attitude changing?
Attitude, just make sure we're much more active, especially from the perimeter. We were leaking out a little bit. I didn't think our guard rebounding was great in the first half, and second half our guards got back in there and did a much better job. Wiggs had 8. Steph had 5, Jordan had a couple. So our guys got back into the play, and I thought we were a little more physical.
Steve, just a quick follow-up. You mentioned someone on the staff had that idea. You usually name that person. I was just curious who it was that had the idea to put Draymond on Fox.
Well, Dayon mentioned it to me. I think he might have been discussing it behind the bench with Chris DeMarco. We've got like 117 coaches, so I'm not.
I mean, I just go back to the Nicky Wren days with the switch. Yeah.
No, it was just a couple of our coaches. I think it was Dayon and CD bringing it up at halftime, and then it's kind of our routine at half is throw out some ideas and then settle on one.
I guess just a quick follow is when one of your first big moves as head coach was putting Draymond on the starting lineup and not on the bench, right? I think you switched him and Harrison. At that time, it meant a lot to him to be a starter, but do you think it matters to him now, or sort of?
He just wants to win, and he's going to tell you that if he comes in here. I mean, that's the only thing that matters at this stage. The regular season is so different. You don't make moves like this the regular season because it's really about managing your team and every personality and making sure